Hey, real estate agents, welcome to the Weekly Closer. I'm your host, Jeff Underwood, along with my co-host, Joey Sampaga. How's it going, buddy?
What's going on? Just hanging loose here at the Airbnb.
Oh, there you go. Getting it all ready, huh?
Yeah, it's actually ready. We just need to get it on the market. So we should be good.
Awesome. Hey, we have a great guest with us today, Morgan Hawes, Launch Real Estate with the Barkan Group. Welcome, Morgan.
Morgan.
Hi, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Big shout out to Javier, right, for getting you in here from Security Title.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
He's pretty cool.
He's all right.
He's all right.
Well, Morgan, why don't we start off with you? Yours is a little bit different topic than we've had on the show. So I'm real excited about it as well. Why don't we start with you sharing with the agents that are watching and listening how long you've been in real estate and what got you into the business?
Well, I've actually been in the industry since I've been 18. I always thought I was going to do real estate on the side of whatever career I was going to do. I was grew up in a family that held a lot of long-term rentals. So that was ingrained I thought I was going to be a doctor, quickly figured out I did not want to be a doctor, but I was going to hold real estate. So I was always interested in it, always exploring different markets. So I went to ASU, quickly realized I do not want to be a doctor. I don't want to be in school this long. Why am I making real estate, the thing that I was truly interested in, my side gig? And so when I was 18, I started working towards my test and decided that's what I was going to do. And I actually found the Barkan Group. So I've been with them the whole time. I found them, basically stalked them for a long time because they also did developments. So they did a ton of different projects, between small remodels, rearranging layouts, to huge teardowns or really extensive remodels and additions. And that's the side that I was really interested in. So basically just stalked all of their projects, used one of their agents, Keith Walker, who is actually now one of my partners as well, as my real estate agent to get my first condo when I was 19. And I was hooked from that moment on, decided that that's what I wanted my niche to be, that it was going to be working with investors and infill developers and focusing on helping people grow their portfolios, get started young into it, and then do a lot of infill development, whether that is remodels under roof, additions, or full teardowns.
Wow. You're really into it, huh?
I got really into it.
Yeah, Morgan, for those who don't know, can you let them know what infill real estate is?
Yeah, so typically when you're working with developers, everybody thinks more subdivision based. That's not my bread and butter. I have my partners that deal with that. I like myself and most of my clients like to find projects within normal neighborhoods and then doing that one project. And so that's why we call it infill rather than having even a small subdivision. It's one house here, one house there, maybe three in a row, but not a subdivision.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got it. So that would be looking for actual lots that have not been built on yet?
I do a mix of both. So we find lots sometimes and do full builds. Sometimes we find houses that we're just going to keep the bones of and we tear literally everything else out. Sometimes we tear the whole house down. One that I'm working on right now, it was a small little 1,000 square foot house. And so we built on another 1,000 square feet. So we kind of took the shell of the 1,000 square foot. The walls were great, but just working everything else in and then basically doubling the size of the house. So I have a mix of everything from lot to complete teardown.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How many on average do you have like projects going on at the same time?
Personally, I only have one or two going on at the same time. I like to really dive into each project and I like to make each very, very different. I just kind of push boundaries. So I like to put my time and effort into them. I'm now starting to scale to take on a little bit more, but I've been using my own money and then a few private investor money. So kept it small at first, got that core process down and now scaling. And then I have clients that I usually help manage the projects with and kind of be their eyes and ears. I work with a lot of investors that are not here in Arizona. So I go and check in, kind of act as their project manager. And we have 5 to 7 going at all times with my other investors.
So how do you find those investors? Like what are you doing to make those connections to then help those out-of-state investors, let's say?
Yeah. It started when I was younger. It started just being in the different networking groups I was a part of. A lot of my groups tended to be young entrepreneurs. So it started as kind of that word of mouth sphere. And then because I'm also a developer myself, I would run into others that were either trying to figure out what this project was and wanted to get information about me and my process. So it started really young like that. Then my biggest lead generation source is actually social media. And that's how I've really started to get people that are not from Arizona to watch my projects. And I really focus on that education piece. And I'm also a market expert for a company called Real Property Investments, and they are actually worldwide. So I'm one of their market experts for the US, specifically talking about Arizona, a few other states that I collaborate on. But that's been a huge push because I can talk to people that tune in worldwide and they're just trying to learn about different markets. So really all the groups that I'm a part of.
Yeah.
So Morgan, do you, you being a developer, do you take on kind of the general contractor role, or do you get them connected to a general contractor?
Depends. I've done both. So all of my personal projects, I have in the past been partnering with a general contractor, and we kind of tag team on things together. This most recent project, I've kind of taken on the general contractor role, and I'm the owner builder now. And I just have my processes in place. I have the subs that I like and have pulled from different projects. And now that that's very clear, that's the role that I'm going to be taking on moving forward. So when I was starting the business, I was partnering with a GC. Now I kind of take that on. When I have clients, it depends on their expertise because I always will act as the project manager, but I'm not going to be your general contractor. So it depends on their expertise. So some of my investors, they need a general contractor, and I let them choose from the people that I would highly recommend. And we go from there and I act as the project manager, or they've had the experience. They just need the contacts and the subs here. And so I will help them sub it out, but they already have the process in place. So they skip the general contractor side.
Okay. And do you collect the project management fee? Okay.
Yes, I collect all of that. I have one general contractor that I work with pretty regularly. And so I get worked in on their payroll. So you would pay the general contractor who then pays me. That's the only time it's different. Otherwise, the fee comes directly to me.
Got it.
So I'm curious what kind of social media you do.
I'm predominantly on Instagram and TikTok. Everything that I do there also kind of funnels to Facebook, but I've noticed Instagram has been huge. I just recently, maybe 3 months ago, got on TikTok, and I wish I had got on sooner. I realized that short form kind of raw content does even better. So my Instagram is a little bit more polished. My TikTok is definitely more raw, just me talking to the camera and showing random stuff in my day to day. And that's been huge. So just in the last 3 months, I've had a ton of outreach from it.
So that's amazing, isn't it, Jeff? When we were teaching social media just a year ago, really the big thing then was Facebook Live for the raw stuff.
Yeah.
And then, Instagram just started to get popular because it kind of took the place of Snapchat. And now it's Instagram and TikTok. I don't know too much about TikTok, but all I know of it are the people dancing or singing or doing that. So,
yeah.
Is that what it is? You dance in front of the house and
pretty much. That's one reason I didn't get on TikTok right away, and because that's all that I saw, and I was like, well, that's not beneficial for my line of business. And then somebody was telling me, no, there's a lot of educational content on it as well, and I was like, you know what, I'll try. So I got on and I was just scrolling at first, and then I started realizing, oh, you can curate and find these different niches in TikTok, and there have been some amazing creators that I've connected with. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'll try doing some real estate stuff. And at first, any new platform, you're just like, maybe this will work. Maybe it doesn't. You put stuff out and you're like, I'm not going to do that next time. And then you kind of find your niche. And in 3 months, I've really found my niche. It's fun. It's not as exhausting to make all that kind of content. And it's raw. It doesn't need to be super polished. You can have a few of those mixed in, but TikTok definitely does a great job of that really raw. This is real. You can mess up a little bit. You're a human. And it's really nice to find those other people that connect in that same way. So completely different niche from what I have on Instagram.
Interesting. You got to take a look at
Yeah.
What's your handle?
Just Morgan Hawes Real Estate on everything.
Okay. Got it.
Mhm.
Are you going to start putting some of the short form video also on YouTube for the YouTube shorts? Because I hear that YouTube is really going to push that hard.
Yeah. So as soon as I heard that, because I've done a few long form on YouTube, but that's not really my style. So every now and then I would put something out, but then they came out with YouTube shorts and I'm like, wait a second, that's my bread and butter. So that's going to change, and that'll be a new facet of my business as well. So I'm actually just starting to kind of break out all the content that will be there, because that'll be a little bit different as well. But short form does really well, and I like it.
Can you give us a tip on what type of short form you would do in the business that you're doing, the type of business that you're doing?
Yeah, so I do a mix. One side of all my short form content is more education curated. I'm actually trying to pick a topic. I mean, keep it short, but it'll be about the appraisal process, about finding a general contractor, more the education pieces that are curated. I'm actually planning on building. Make it really short, just summarize, boom, there's that. And then I have the other section where it's just, this is kind of a day in the life. This is real stuff that happens, whether it's me showing a property and some random crap happening, or if it's the real life of I'm negotiating a contract and it's 11 p.m. at night, but there's no choice. And so a lot of it is more the real behind the scenes kind of aspects as well. So I like to do that mix. And then you have more content that way too.
Okay. And then are you able to, so do you, because Instagram has its, I guess you can record really quick videos too, or stories. And then do you also use that content in TikTok?
Yes.
Okay.
I tag team a lot of that content. Usually the stuff that I will post on my Instagram stories, because those typically are more raw in the moment, are the same things or similar things that I will put on TikTok, because it is that kind of that raw in the moment. And then all my polished, anything that my videographer is actually filming for me is typically my Instagram posts, reels, that type of thing. And every now and then we'll also go on to TikTok, but that'll be the difference, as Instagram is a little bit more polished, and my actual videographer is producing a lot of content for me there. And TikTok is definitely more the, hey, this is me recording a selfie talking about you real quick, or hey, here's an education piece that I just thought of here in my office.
All right. Awesome.
And I think there's different audiences too on.
Yeah.
I mean, probably more so the age difference, maybe, right, on TikTok versus Instagram.
Yeah, there's definitely a age gap there. So, I mean, I'm younger anyway. I'm just 26. So my Instagram, I tend to find people that are, just graduating from ASU typically, but just graduating from college, and they want to get their first place and they want to figure out, how do I get involved in investing, to probably 45 is my bread and butter. And then I have the outliers, but that's pretty much my bread and butter on Instagram. Whereas on TikTok, I have people that are 16 to 18 that are asking me questions of, okay, I can't buy yet, but how do I prepare myself in the next few years to when I turn 18, 19, how do I get involved? Or I have a lot of investors that they are investing out of state, and they are finding people on TikTok that can give them real life views, but it's definitely a younger, much younger. I mean, many people are under 18 that are finding me on TikTok. And I think the cap there is, the oldest converting client that I have on TikTok was 28. So very different age group there.
Yeah. Well, I'm almost double your age, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would jump on the YouTube shorts for sure, because I know that they've made a lot of announcements over the last few weeks about how much they're putting into pushing the shorts out there. So
yeah,
definitely probably taking more like your Instagram type content to also put over into the YouTube side.
Exactly. I'm excited about that one because YouTube, I know the value is there, but long form videos were never really, I wasn't going to be consistent with it because it wasn't my niche. But short form, that's my game all day. So I'm excited that they announced that.
Good. That's awesome. I know we talked a lot about marketing and all that and social media, but what about how have you seen the investors that you're working with and yourself change their business model during, the last few months for sure? During this market shift.
Yeah. This market shift has been at the very beginning. Of course, everybody was, all right, let's see what is happening with this shift. We're going to hold back. We're going to be in a holding pattern or just sell this one right away, sit on the cash and just hang out for a second. Now, in this last month, the investors are coming back in because they're realizing that they can just structure the deal a little differently. So I'm noticing that we are using much more seller concessions, a lot of rate buy downs. A lot of my investors, we've been using hard money or private money at a higher rate anyway, so they're not as affected by these interest rates. So they're like, this is what we were paying before, so not too worried about it. But they're using those seller concessions as a huge advantage. We're seeing a ton of price reductions for anybody, not just investors. But for them to come in and say, 7, 8, 9% is cheaper than some of the hard money that we've used, but now we can get 20, 30 grand back for either buying down our rate because this is going to be a hold property, or we're going to use it to reduce our cash to close, has been monumental. And now there's less competition on all of these properties as well. So we're finding a lot of deals in any market. I try to find a lot of deals off market so that there's less competition anyway. But in this market, we're finding things that are even on market we're getting good deals on. So that shift is definitely becoming beneficial now.
Yeah. What do you do to try to find off market deals?
I'm a part of a ton of different social media groups. And so I usually get connected every day. I'm going through their pages, seeing if anything fits the numbers for my different investors, and we kind of go from there. I am really well known in my neighborhood. And so I usually have neighbors that will text me different options that are either right in my neighborhood or they have friends of a friend that are potentially looking to buy. And it's because I typically work with investors and developers, we're definitely numbers oriented. So as long as the numbers work, I keep pushing them out. And then I also, through my national and worldwide groups, I get a lot of properties that are even not in Arizona. I get a lot of properties off market that are elsewhere, but just through different networking groups, they've really, at the beginning, it felt like they were doing nothing. But now that I have those relationships in place, I mean, every single day I will get 1 or 2 off market deals, some good, some not good, but I will get something coming from those different groups that I'm a part of on my plate.
Got it. Mm-hmm. And what would you say right now is kind of the mindset, or I guess, what do you think of the investors that you're talking to and working with and yourself, what is your feeling about where the market is headed? Like, I know we can't project out too far, but I mean, are you getting kind of a temperature gauge among some of these?
Yeah, I think especially this last month that I was mentioning, investors pulled off just to see what exactly is happening. But in this past month, I've seen investors come back tenfold, and they're like, we know that we can use this to our advantage. We see, I mean, even before COVID, people were moving to Arizona in herds, or they're trying to buy a second place or investment property or something along those lines. Then COVID hit and more people started moving to us. And so our supply just doesn't meet the demand. We are nowhere close to where we need to be. And investors and these developers are realizing that and trying to pick up as many properties as they can. They might be shifting. I don't see as many flips as I used to. I'm definitely seeing more, we're going to remodel the property and hold it long-term or short-term or corporate. So I'm noticing that their exit strategies are different, but people are starting to buy quicker, or those investors are starting to buy quicker, especially with the Super Bowl coming up here, because they know they could make $5 to $7 grand a night on just a regular property, let alone if you went luxury and you could make I just helped rent a property that is going to be making 20 grand a night for their luxury properties.
Wow.
So there are some investors that are seeing that and they're like, ooh, I'd like to cash in on that. And then if I don't like it, I'll change my mind. But they're coming back in herds, and we kind of expect that price appreciation is going to continue at a much slower rate than we saw during COVID, at a much slower rate, but they're still going to appreciate. We do think that interest rates will keep rising for a little bit, but then they'll start coming back down. But that'll probably be end of next year, possibly. So we think we're going to be in this kind of market shift for at least a year longer.
So have you had investors who got caught in the middle of that shift, where they were maybe fixing and flipping a property, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, I can't sell it for what we want to sell it for. So what do we do next?
Yes. So some of my investors, usually when we go in, we're trying to buy something that has multiple exit strategies anyway. But I have had people that they were flipping a project, and then all of a sudden this shift is happening. They're like, wait a second, our main exit strategy might not be the most beneficial. And so as they were finishing up the project, they actually finished up a little over a month ago. So as they were finishing that project up, we were like, okay, we could list for this, or you can keep it as an Airbnb option, use it through Super Bowl waste management, all these awesome times that we have here, and then decide, is that the right time to list, or do you want to keep it as an Airbnb? So then they shifted their mindset of, okay, we're not going to sell it right away. We're going to keep it as an Airbnb, go through at least February, reassess whether the Airbnb is making you a lot of money, or if we want to sell at that moment. So they did have to shift there. But that's one thing that I really like to push all of my investors. I am here to guide and educate, not just sell you any property. So when I go in, I want to make sure that there's at least a backup option to whatever your main exit strategy and goal is. Let's make sure there's a backup option there just in case the market shifts again.
Okay. Yeah. No, the only reason why I ask is I have 3 of them that got caught in the shift, and I'm sitting in one of them now, and Airbnb seems to be the way to do it. And as you mentioned, with Super Bowl coming up, I did a search on this area here. This is like Central Phoenix, and they're doing like 4,000 to 4,500 during that Super Bowl time, and then all the other events, of course. So who knows? It might be good. This is my first, me dipping my toe into Airbnbs. It might be good.
Yeah. No, Airbnbs, I think, are always a really good option. I wish a lot of my investors, we try to do, I have my development clients. More people are trying to do multifamily developments right now, which I think is amazing, because Arizona, especially this Phoenix area, we don't have a lot of multifamily. We kind of skip we don't have many duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. They're scattered, or they're in areas that you're like, I don't know about that one. Yeah. You're like, maybe not this street. So I love that there's more development going on in that smaller multifamily space as well. But Airbnbs are doing so well, and we have amazing events every single year that bring people in. And this is one of those places, bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, they come here for the amazing weather, for the growing metro areas that we have, and the experience-based businesses that are popping up left and right, it seems like every other day. So we have so much to provide that people see the value in. They're coming every single year, no matter what time of year. I've had people rent places on Airbnb in the dead of summer, and they're like, it has a pool, I don't care. I'm like, all right. So Airbnbs are one of those options that I wish more people would look into, because it's also a lifestyle asset. You can use it as well. So you can live a life that you want while also making money off of it. But then you can always change your mind. If you decide, hey, I can sell this, go for it. So I always like that as an option.
Yeah, we interviewed someone and we asked him what the occupancy rate is. And he says the conservative is 84%. And we're like, oh, that's a good number. And he says he's making about conservatively 30% more than he would if he did a long-term rental. So it's something to get excited about, I guess.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. Good luck, Joey.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure it's going to be fine. So, Morgan, what would you say your favorite way to invest is?
Ooh. It might be shifting now because I'm just now getting into my own small multifamily investments, and I really, really like the numbers on them, and being able to have more than one door on a similar project. So I'm just dipping my toes into that for me personally. I've helped a lot of people do that. Now I'm working on it, and I want to say that's where I'm leaning. But right now it's probably Airbnbs. I think because they're also a lifestyle asset and an investment class, I think those have been my favorite. So we'll see if the small multifamily takes that over or not, or is just a nice asset to have on the side.
Yeah. So when you say small multifamily, you talk about 4 units or less, still in the residential realm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And so what are you usually trying to find something that's already licensed for that or zoned for that? Or are you taking, let's say, like a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, 2-bath home and then adding space to it or rooms to it or units to it?
I've done both, and I've helped a lot of clients do both. I like, at least for me right now, I'm personally looking for something that's already there, that already has the 2 to 4 doors. I have done rezoning for clients before, and I'm always interested in that option if possible, especially if it's in kind of the Scottsdale Camelback East location. If that's possible, I like to look at that because I think you can push more value there and just force more equity. But at least right now, I'm looking for the doors and the zoning to already be there.
Got it.
So I'm curious, do you have a goal for how many doors you want to have by a certain age?
Ooh, that keeps changing. So my original goal was by 30 that I wanted to have at least 100 doors. Now that has shifted because I started selling off certain doors in order to take on more projects. So I don't know anymore. That's still a loose goal that I have in mind, but I always just keep options open. So when the market shifted and I could get more money than I thought possible on one of my condo units, I was like, okay, we'll sell it then. We'll tweak that. So I just kind of listen to what the market's doing, just go with a gut feeling from there.
All right, that's good. Well, this has been great information. Is there anything else you want to make sure the agents know about when it comes to investing or infill development or anything like that before we move to the next segment?
I guess my biggest push, and most realtors that work with investors and even light infill developers, they know to be careful of the wholesale aspect of it here. Especially, it's really popular in this Phoenix area. We have new wholesale groups popping up left and right, but knowing that you have a network of other agents that are working with investors and developers, and you will get a much better return if that's done in-house, not necessarily in your brokerage, but collaborating with other brokerages and trying to do that inside definitely helps the community as well, by skipping that kind of middleman.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense.
I guess I was going to ask too, do you, if any of the agents that are watching or listening have questions for you, or maybe come across a property that they might want to throw your way or what have you, right? How would somebody get hold of you?
On any of my social media, again, it's Morgan Hawes Real Estate on everything. You can DM me. You can email me at realty@morganhawes.com. You can text or call me. So really, any way that you find me online, reach out to me how it's most comfortable for you. And I will be there to answer any questions or field properties. I have a lot of other agents from different brokerages that they will send properties my direction just to give maybe they're representing the seller, just to give their seller an idea of what an infill developer or what an investor would come in for their property and what the numbers would look like. And then they can decide, do we want to go on market? Do we want to sell it off market? Do we want to do the work ourselves? What is the value there? So I have a lot of people that'll just send those over to me and I field them all.
Cool. Morgan Hawes Real Estate.
Yep.
All right. Instagram and TikTok and everywhere else. Soon to be
everything.
YouTube.
Soon to be YouTube.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. You ready to move to the next segment? You good?
Yeah.
Ready to get in the ring? All right. So big shout out first to our sponsors, Security Title Agency and Fidelity National Home Warranty. They always do a great job for us. So give them a try, folks. All right, here we go. We're going to get in the ring. Podcasts or YouTube videos?
Ooh, podcasts.
All right. Pizza or cheeseburgers?
Cheeseburger.
Apple or Android?
Apple all the way.
Joey loves that one. He's going to tell me to take that one off someday.
Take that off, Jeff.
Would you rather drive electric car or gas car?
I want to say electric, but I don't think they look very cool. So gas.
I'm with you on that one.
Yet, huh?
And final one, how about your favorite vacation destination?
Ooh, Italy.
Wow. All right. That's a long trip.
Yes. And so worth it.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, thanks again for being on here. Thanks for sharing this information. And thanks to Javier for getting you on as well. So we appreciate
thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been great. I've learned some
Yeah,
things.
this is awesome.
Yeah, we got to get you back on the show again.
Yeah.
We'll have her back on again for sure. Update about what's going on with the market and different strategies closer to the end of the year or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like sharing how those strategies change too, because they do.
Yeah, I bet. Awesome. I appreciate it, Morgan. All right, agents, until next time, we will see you later. Take care.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.